welcome to Labour Lens. I am Sharon Ijason. On this week edition of the program, we'll be focusing on several issues that affect Nigerian workers, especially the issue of cash crunch that most Nigerians are affected with. We also have interesting news stories for you. We will be right back.
The Nigerian Labour Congress has directed public sector workers in the country to commence an indefinite strike from Wednesday, the 29th of March 2023. President of NLC, Joe Ajero, also directed affiliate unions constituting the Nigerian Labour Congress to stand by for picketing exercises across all branches of the Central Bank of Nigeria nationwide. The directive followed the expiration of 1 week ultimatum by the Congress. NLC had criticized the cash swap policy of the federal government and the persistent petrol scarcity across the country. NLC President Joe Ajero said the decision to picket the CBN branches became necessary as the federal government and the CBN have not shown any commitment to address the situation. He lamented that despite the Supreme Court order allowing the old 500 naira and 1,000 naira notes to circulate with the new notes till December the 31st this year, the situation appears to be getting worse as workers cannot access cash to pay fares to work or to buy food for their families.
From this week, from Friday, there will be mobilization of all state councils through a NEC meeting. All unions have already been directed to mobilize all their organs and their branches by Wednesday next week. All central bank from the CBN headquarters will be shut till further notice. Workers are directed to stay at home and join in the picketing exercise.
International Women's Day is usually marked every year as a time to acknowledge the struggle by women for better living and working conditions. This year, Trade Union Congress in Nigeria postponed the event till later in March due to governorship and state assembly elections. Women have always faced challenges of gender equality, violence and abuse over the years. This hinders them from fully harnessing their potentials. The Trade Union Congress is using this event to motivate women to acquire skills on digital innovation and technology if they want to excel in any sector across the country. Union leaders all agree that women should always be ready to take opportunities when they come and should break free of shackles binding them to roles at home to take up leadership positions and careers.
Work with the government, we need to work with the public, private and civil society organizations to see that spaces are created for women. Women are carried along from the beginning where technologies are being formed.
The male folk must support, the family must support, the government most especially. We must create deliberate policies to advance the cause of women.
Technologies have become the game changer. So economically, women can expand businesses, move to e-commerce. Politically, they can generate support without necessarily going to the street.
Every March 8th, Nigerian women join the rest of the world to celebrate the International Women's Day. International Women's Day is a day to promote a gender-equal world that is free from prejudice, stereotyping, and discrimination, and one that is diverse, inclusive, and equitable. With this in mind, workers of the National Union of Chemical, Footwear, Rubber, Leather, and Non-Metallic Product Employees observed the International Women's Day celebration with the theme Digital All, Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality.
This year, we're hoping that with the commemoration, women will be more open to taking more leadership positions. Women will be more open to staying side by side men instead of staying behind men. It is time for women to actually use our intellect to refuse to be behind. We are in a world now where we have smarter women, where we have women of greater intellect. Women are doing things. We see women going on to become prime ministers. We see women going on to become presidents. We see women going on to become, many things, heads of states, heads of departments, heads of organizations. And we think that it is only fair that we begin to create more space. And we urge men to join to advocate for women and gender equality.
My advice for women generally is that they should always endeavor to speak out. They should not let anyone to relegate them. We should always speak out when there's any challenges. We should not keep it to ourselves. And we should say ourselves that yes, we can do it. We should always come out and make sure that our voice is heard.
My advice for the women is that normally they should not be an element of themselves. They are seeing an organization that women want to contest. It is women they are going to use against such women to be calling names in order to demoralize her in taking position. Women should come forward to come and take their position. As men equally these days, they are beginning to be enlightened the importance of women.
Project Coordinator Frederick Ebert Foundation Remi Ijirika spoke about the challenges women are faced with in the country.
A focus on gender equity needs to be part of our everyday life. You understand? And it's critical to understand the difference between equity and equality. I'm going to talk about it later. So the aim of this year's International Women's Day is embrace equity, is to get the world to talk about why equal opportunities aren't enough. So you cannot have development with one gender moving forward and the other gender strolling at the back. If we're going to have true development, then the two must work side by side and we must have equitable action. It's not going to happen by magic. It's not going to happen by wishful thinking. It's going to happen by actions, deliberate actions, conscious actions. And current president made mention of one of those actions, talking about the 35% representation.
It was concluded at the event that digital technology needs to be used to accelerate progress on the Sustainable Development Goals and gender equality.
First of all, we said this scarcity of the cash affected me. I'm an electrical engineer and I'm finding things difficult to do my business because there is no cash presently now in Nigeria. So what I want government to do is to make the cash available, talk to the authority so that the cash, if the cash is available, I can be able to do my business very well.
Some people, they have money, you have money on the bank, to withdraw it is not possible. But we say thank God, but it's coming, it's subsiding now. So everything is coming, it's getting to normal, but it'll never be normal.
I think the government has really kickstarted something. So like I read on the online not quite long, was it about an hour ago that okay, they are going to they are going to release the old notes to banks. I think as from start from on Monday, probably we should wait. Going on strike would not really help. I don't think it's an option. Yeah, so that's just it.
No, it's not the solution. We have to make peace in this country. So what I'm saying is that let the authorities do something, do what they will do, so that everything will be normalized.
On the Profile Interview segment this week, I'll be speaking with the General Secretary of the Nigerian Labour Congress. It brings us up to speed on the reason why it took this while for the Congress to make a position as regards the cash crunch Nigerian workers and Nigerians generally are faced with. He also spoke about the engagement that the Congress had with the management of the Central Bank of Nigeria and what the Congress decision is following that meeting. be speaking with Comrade Emmanuel Ugwoja, the General Secretary of NLC. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Recently, the Congress came up with a press release saying that there will be a nationwide strike from Wednesday. Can you bring us up to speed on why it's necessary for Nigerian workers to actually stop going to work at this moment?
Clearly, thank you. We have monitored and followed closely the federal government's cash renewal or exchange policy. And we have spoken at various fora, press conference, at a national delegate conference on the 7th of February, and at other occasions to decry the challenge the new policy had brought to bear on workers. And like everything, the way communication from us is normally treated, they ignored it and nobody responded to it. We had our Central Working Committee meeting and gave a 7 days ultimatum for the government and the central bank, its main agency, to bring this challenge under control. We never got any response. Our letters were ignored. Nobody made any effort. Then held a meeting to assess the situation at the end of our ultimatum, our 7 days ultimatum, 7 working days ultimatum. And at the end of the discussions, it dawned on us that we needed to take our destiny in our own hands. Workers have had to trek from their homes to work on empty stomach all through the working day because they had no money to buy anything. Families were rationing their meals and cooking without the basic ingredients just to keep alive. And we felt we couldn't continue a life like this. And we then had to come out clearly to say if they don't want us going to work, then it will be better to stay home. And if they want Nigerians to then die at home, we should then die with our loved ones, wondering what has become of our societies. So clearly, we then had to ensure that we still gave a window for the authorities to do what is right. So we agreed that by Wednesday,
29th March,
we'll have to picket every central bank office in Nigeria, from their headquarters in Abuja to all their zonal and state offices across the Federation.
I am aware of so many losses that Nigerian workers and small business owners have been experiencing in the last few days. As the worker body, would you tell us if there is any amount of money, if there's any figure that you can put to the public as the amount of loss that has been made by Nigerian workers, especially those that fall into the artisans group?
Quantifying it will be the same thing as trying to quantify, because we're in a situation that is worse than the Ukraine war. And you know how much the international community is pumping into the Ukraine war. We're in a situation where our own money, we're not asking for handouts, our own money is trapped inside the votes of the CBN and the commercial banks. Our own money, we're not under a war situation, but authorities conspired, connived, and called in our monies and then held us hostage. That people didn't have monies to buy medication. How will you quantify death of workers who cannot afford to buy medication? How will you quantify death of children, of workers who are unable to buy medication for their children? How will you quantify challenges of those on special diet that are unable to maintain that regime and are now having to battle with worsening health situation? How will you quantify the mental realization that all your savings, all your efforts to keep afloat under the different challenges society and the state has thrown at you has come to a head, that they have trapped you into putting in your money and you can't access the money. So it's not or something you can easily quantify, because our monies are trapped in there. They tell you about 3 trillion cash in circulation. What of the non-cash assets that have been laid to waste? You have startup businesses that are collapsing. You have the informal sector that has been the cushioning sector that has given people confusion as to why Nigeria is still afloat in the midst of all the torture we are going through. Is the resilience of the informal sector. And this is one policy that has challenged that resilience to a very high degree. So clearly, we are in a very precarious situation, and it's between the devil and the deep blue sea.
So are you saying now that with this conversation and understanding that NLC has with the Central Bank of Nigeria, are you saying now that the picketing exercise or the strike that has been threatened would be withdrawn?
Our strike was to call the authorities to do what is right. If they say they are doing what is right, we will need to see it. INEC said they will do what is right, and we didn't see it happen. So you're not going to tell me whether I have money, I don't have money. I will know whether I have money. So I will know whether there is money in the bank when I go and ask them, I want some of my money, and it's given to me. If I go there and ask for some of my money and I can't get it, there's no amount of announcement or pronouncement from the CBN that will make me accept that there has been a change. So the change will be when I go to the bank and I can get money. The change will be when my mother goes to the bank and she can access cash. The change will be when you go to the bank and you can then tell me I was able to buy oranges today because I got money from my account. So if that is not happening, we are not going to take bulletins. We are not going to accept press conferences as evidence of money in circulation. No, money in circulation is going to circulate amongst human beings, and the human beings will be the litmus test, will be the determinant of whether we'll go ahead with our action or not. We are the ones feeling it, so nobody needs to tell us what we feel. We will know if the money is in circulation. It wasn't in circulation, we knew. And if it gets back into circulation, we will know.
Okay, very quickly, what would be your advice or suggestion to employers of labor, be it public service or private sector? Because we've heard of stories of workers that actually lost their lives during this situation we find ourselves in. For example, there was a radio presenter that was walking and had to walk a long distance, and the person passed out due to this unfortunate incident. So as General Secretary of Congress, would there be any message that you'd like to pass to government, private owners, private business owners that probably will cushion the effects of this precarious situation we find ourselves in?
The fact is, these are emergency times. These are very difficult times. So you can't be expecting a worker to put in a regular shift. It would be inhuman to expect a worker that doesn't have money to come to work to be there at 8 a.m. if it's to resume at 8 a.m. It will be inhuman to work him to death when he has not eaten. He has no money to buy food, and you'll expect the same level of concentration and strength from him. No, we expect people to be human and to find creative ways of managing the situation And that's why for us, the most ideal way, having done all, the most ideal is to stay away from work, to stay away from strain and stress in an empty stomach, and to see how we can, within our communities, within our homes, manage the situation while the authorities get the monies back to circulation.
So can you tell us why did it take this long for the Nigerian Labour Congress to come up with this action? Because it's been a while that Nigerian workers and even the average citizen were actually faced with this cash crunch. What do you think? Why would you say it took the Congress this much time to make that decision?
We are normal, and we love a stable society. And most of the time we bend backwards. We stretch our endurance to make for a stable society. We had not wanted to combine trade union action with electioneering. We didn't want to combine trade union action with high wire politicking that was going on. But clearly, and our people went through this period thoroughly stressed, thoroughly challenged. But now nobody can talk about the challenge being politically motivated or not politically motivated. Everybody is challenged, and we've gotten through the political process. We need to face the economic process, and the economic process is what we are facing right now.
Okay, beyond picketing exercise, final word on employers of labor as regards ensuring that there is decent work. This is 2023. We've survived COVID. We've survived a lot of challenges as workers, but there's been lots of inflation that the country has been faced with. Only 1 or 2 states has improved on the national minimum wage. What will be your word of what will be your suggestion towards private and public CEOs towards ensuring that workers actually have decent work and earn a living wage?
The truth is clearly the trend and the trust of corporate world is moving towards a shared prosperity. The era of individuals growing fat while the rest of the workforce is growing thin is no more in vogue. It's shared prosperity, it's ability of the workforce to patronize the products that they are producing. It wouldn't make sense for you to be a car manufacturer in Nigeria and you manufacture 500,000 cars and only 5,000 people can afford those cars. So that wouldn't make any meaning. So clearly, we're in the era of shared prosperity. We're in the era of humanity looking out for one another. The COVID pandemic has taught us the lesson that poverty anywhere is poverty everywhere. Health challenge in one place can cause a ripple effect of health challenge across board. So you need to make provisions for public health. You need to make provisions for public good. You need to make provisions for public prosperity. So clearly, any rational being in the current situation should be thinking in that direction. So for us, we are looking forward to a shared prosperity time, not a period of accumulation, so that only a few will go and assess the benefits of development of other countries while living us in dark ages. No, that is not the way to go.
Thank you very much for your time. It was an interesting conversation I had with you.
Thank you for having me.
And that's all we can take on today's edition of the program. Join us next week for a fresh edition of the show. I am Sharon Ijason. Thanks for watching, and remember that labor creates wealth.